Hey everybody, it's Kevin. Welcome to the first lecture for Advanced Revit. With me as always is Wendell, napping nicely on the bed. There we go. And today we are going to talk and have a little bit of a refresher about all things title block. So your class, your cohort has made some really awesome title blocks in both CAD and in Revit last semester, although I believe we didn't spend too much time on the title blocks for Revit. So we're going to revisit that. This will just be a quick 1 week assignment, and you're asked to sort of create your own design presentation title block. If you remember when we talked about title blocks, how those differ from construction title blocks is maybe they don't have every single bit of information about a project on them, but they're kind of used primarily for presenting work to clients. So they're minimal and they just contain the necessary information that one would need about a project, but not all the numbers and dates and revisions, things like that. So for this assignment, I'm going to be sending you a link to a OneDrive folder that has a bunch of title block examples, some that you saw last semester and some new ones that I put in there. My advice would be to um, well, could you use the title block you used last semester and just sort of regurgitate it into this assignment? Yeah, you could do that. But I would suggest just try to make a new one, have some fun with it, and try to test your skills again. I don't want you just to copy what you did last time. I will say you could start with what you did last time, but maybe just try to switch it up a little bit. So whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you want to do. Okay, so I am in Revit 2019 right now. I'm waiting for my software for 2020. Thought I would have it by now, but I don't. But shouldn't be that much different from 2020. I know they redesigned this initial kind of window right here for 2019, so we should be good to go. So the first thing we're going to do when we create a title block is, now if you remember this, we're going to make a family. We're going to make a title block family, and then we're going to load that family into a project, and we're going to print it from the project. Now remember that families are sort of components that live within projects. So in a particular project, there might be, geez, sky's the limit on the number of families that could be loaded into it for all different facets of the project: the furniture, the ceilings, the floors, the windows, the roof, whatever the case may be, the furniture. I didn't say that already. So let's start a new title block family. So I'm going to go over to the left side of the screen here. Now I'm going to go to new, under families here. I'm going to go to new, not under models, under families. And it takes me right to here, to select template file. So right away, it's asking me, hey, Kev, it looks like you want to make a family. Okay, what do you want to make? Do you want to make a casework, a column? What do you want to make? I want to make a title block, Revit. So I'm going to double click on the title blocks folder here. And within there, I see a bunch of different sizes, kind of typical standard sizes. And then if I wanted to make a size that I didn't see here, this new size family where I could adjust the size from there. So let's go to B 17 by 11 and click open. Okay, so right away we're seeing the limits of our title block page, and that's made by these 4 lines. This one up here, this one over here, and this one down here. Okay, so what we need to do now is sort of make our title block within here. Now on the assignment sheet, I basically lay out that you can put your title block basically on the side here or on the bottom here. It's your choice, but we have to have a 1/4 inch kind of border around because we have to leave some room for the printer, because if you put your image right up to the edge of the paper, some of it's going to get cut off basically. So let's add a little 1/4 inch margin to begin with. So what I'm going to do is go up to create, and I'm going to go to line. So create tab. On the detail panel, I'm clicking line, and I'm just going to make a, you know what, I'm going to grab the rectangle tool here, and I'm just going to make one, and I know it's going to be off. I'm just going to place it in the middle there. I'm going to select this top line, and I'm going to change this temporary dimension to 0.25 inch. Grab this one, change that temporary dimension to 0.25 inch. At the bottom, inch. One more. There we go. We have a nice 1/4 inch boundary around the whole drawing. Now, I personally don't want that 1/4 inch boundary to be printed. I just want to know that it's there so I know what areas not to put a drawing past once I place drawings on here. So I'm going to go ahead and hover over one of the lines and hit tab, and then click to select all those lines. And I'm going to go up to my modify lines tab here, which is already, it'll be on it right away. And under subcategory, I'm going to change this to invisible lines. And then I'm going to click off in space. So a little difficult to tell maybe on this, but it did get a little bit lighter in color there. So that tells me that that's an invisible line. And now I'm basically good to go here. So let's say for my particular title block, I'd like to do it on the right-hand side. And the first thing I'm going to do is create a little border around the whole thing so I kind of know the area where my title block is going to live. So I'm going to go up to create, go to line. Now for subcategory, I think I'll just change this to medium lines. Okay, and we'll talk about these in a minute. But I'm going to start here in this corner, and I'm going to draw a line over 2 inches. Bring it down. I'm going to bring it over. And then I know I'm going on top of the invisible lines because those aren't going to print. So the ones that are going to print are my medium lines. So let's say I want my title block to live sort of in that area. So that looks pretty good. From this point, then you can put your name and logo and all the things that I assign on your assignment sheet in here. Okay. Now, let's just talk about different line types so you can sort of do different things in here and how to make hatches. Okay, so those are basically using lines and hatches are sort of like design elements within the title block that will help you, say, divide information up or carve it up in some way. So let's say I want to put a series of hatches on here. Okay, so first thing I want to do is go up to create. Now, in CAD, we call them hatches. In Revit, they call them filled regions. Okay, so I'm going to go over to create and then click on filled region right here. Okay, right now the type is set to filled region 1, and I see this red X and green check mark, which of course means that's correct. It means you're in a tool. So once you see that, you want to make sure that you remember you're in a tool and that you have to leave that tool at some point. Okay, so when I went into filled region, what it's asking me is to create a boundary. So I'm going to just create a simple, I know this is 2 inches wide, so I'm going to make a 1/4 inch high, 2 inch by a 1/4 inch, bring it back. And now I'm going to select, I hit escape twice there, and I'm going to select these lines and make them invisible. And then I'm going to hit the green check. Okay, what that did was it gave me a crosscut hatch, with an invisible boundary. But let's say I don't want that crosscut hatch. I want something else. Let's click on that now. So we're out of the filled region designer. Okay, so we've made our filled region. Now I could go up to here and change the different types. So if I click on that and click on this, I see there's only one type in here. And that type is the crosshatch. That's not even what I want. So what do? We're going to select that filled region, and I'm going to go edit type. And then what am I going to do? That's correct. We're going to click duplicate. And we can call this one filled region 2. That's fine. And let's change this to a solid fill. And I'm going to change the color to sort of a gray. It's like 168. I'm going to change this to, I'm not sure what feature this is, but I want to make sure I don't give any surprises. 168. And I'm going to hit OK. So there we have a nice gray little hatch. I'm going to move that over here. Okay. Now I could use this. Now I just held Control and slid it down, or I could do Control C, Control V. Make another one. Control C, Control V. Another one. And maybe that's a good start. So now I have like some information I could input here, some information I could input here, 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 and then finally here. So this is already looking pretty cool. Now, come to think of it, I might want to make this line invisible, this box I put around here as well, because my sort of gray tabs sort of designate a whole area here anyway. So it's up to you how you'd like to design that, but I'm just showing you some options. So let's say instead of hatches here, you just want to do a nice big thick line, okay? And when I go up to create line, all I have is title blocks, invisible lines, medium, thin, and wide. So let's draw a wide line. Okay, doesn't look very wide to me, but I can see how it differs from this one, but not very much. Now, if yours doesn't differ at all, you might have on your thin line category up here. So just make sure that that isn't highlighted. If it's highlighted, everything has the same line weight. Now, when I turn it off, take a look at this line here. Keep your eye on it. I'm going to turn it off. You can barely tell that that's thicker, but it is a thicker line. But let's go see what all these lines are set to, and then you can create your own. So I am going to go up to Manage. It's a Manage tab, Object Styles button here. It's under the Settings panel. So I'm going to click on Object Styles. Okay, under title blocks, I have medium lines, thin lines, and wide lines. Wide lines is 5. Okay, thin lines is 1, medium lines is 3. All right, let me just check that again. So this is a medium line. This is a wide line. They're close, but you can see they are different. Now, if I go into Manage Object Styles and I'm going to change my wide lines to 7, you can see it got thicker there. Okay, so you could change the settings of those, or we can add our own. So I'm going to go back to Object Styles, and under Modify Subcategories, I'm going to click New. I'll call this Wide 2. I want that to be a subcategory of title block, so it's under here. Wide 2. Okay, wide 2. Let's put these at 12 and hit OK. All right, so let's get rid of these. I'll leave the hatches. I'm just going to put a nice wide line on the bottom of it. So I'm going to go Create Line. Go to my subcategory, change it to wide 2. A nice big line there. Wow, that's huge. There. There. And let's go into manage object styles, and I'll change this to, let's do a 10. Okay. Still looks a little funky, but I'm going to have to live with it. So that's how you could add your own lines with your own line weights. You could also change the color of the line if you wanted to. So you could add some color to your title block. Excuse me. That's also how you add filled regions and then add new types of filled regions to have different visual appearance between them. So maybe you want crosshatch, maybe you want solid, maybe you want just diagonal hatch in there. Okay, so let's talk about inserting images and text. Okay, so if I want to insert an image, I can just go up to Insert and go to Import Panel and then do Image. Let's see if I can find one on here. Let's look under Stuff. Here's my Yoda wallpaper. I'll put that one on. Yeah, let's do that. And open. Ooh, looks pretty big. There it is. So this is my desktop background, but I'm going to shrink that down. So all I did was grab this corner. I'm just going to bring it all the way up here and put that in here. Now, let's say this is maybe some kind of logo image. I'm going to put that right there. And that's where I want it to live. So I could, of course, nudge it, move it around with my arrows, but get that in place where you might want an image, or vice versa, is you could draw your logo or whatever it may be here, or design a logo with just some text letters and some line work. This I don't think is that great of an example of what a logo could be, because it looks like I took an image, cut it out, and pasted it on the page versus it actually working with the white space of the page. So all of the examples that I've given you for the assignment show something that works much better. And you guys kind of know what I'm talking about because you had some really rocking title blocks last semester. Okay, text. I'm going to go up to Create, and here are my two options for text. Now, keep in mind the difference between these. It's label and text. If you insert a label, that is something that you can change on between your different sheets. So if I have sheet A101 and A102, maybe I want to, the only reason why A101 and A102 can have different title page numbers is because they're made with labels and not text. If you put a title page on here with text, it would be the same sheet number. I don't know if I'm explaining that right. I'm sorry. Let me just rephrase that. If you put a sheet number on your title block here with the text button, with this one, and you call it A101, every sheet that gets created with this title block will have the number A101 on it, which isn't very helpful because all your sheets are are numbered the same thing. So if we need that to change from sheet to sheet to sheet, we want to use a label instead. Okay, then on the actual sheet in the project, I can change the sheet number on each page. I don't have to go into the family and edit anything. Labels allow you to have control over it when it is in the project. If you have any confusion about that, just let me know and I could run you through that again. But let me go ahead and place text and place a label, and then you'll get the picture. So let's just start with text. I'm just going to put my company name. I'm going to get rid of that because I don't want to use an image. First thing I want to do is put a big A. My company is called Archetype Design Co. So I clicked the letter A, and I'm just going to, I'm sorry, the button A for text. Oh, I'll put it on center align. I'm just going to click my mouse here. It's asking me to type something. I'm just going to put A. Okay. Now, I'm going to select that. I made it. I clicked off it. I selected again. Let's just see what we have here. It's called Text Note 1. Okay, so if I go in there and hit Edit Type, this tells me everything about it. It's an Arial font. Its text size is 1/4 inch. Let's do this at 1/2 inch because it's my logo. And let's say okay. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now, I also want to go into Edit Type, and I want to change the background. Instead of opaque, I want to make it transparent. Hit OK. Now I can see that line behind it there. It's not like block. This shape isn't blocking out the geometry behind it. Okay, there we go. Now I want to write Archetype Design Co. underneath it. So I'm going to go create text. I'm going to write it out first, and then we'll have to make a new type here. So I'm going to go, I'm just going to click over here. I'm just going to type in Archetype Design. Okay, looks huge, right? Under Text Note 1, which this is, yeah, it does look big. So let's go Edit Type. I'm going to duplicate it. I'll call it Text Note 2. And I'm going to change this to 1/8, and let's see how big that is. And then I'm going to change that. Oop. Getting a little lost here. Let's try that again. Okay, still on Text Note 1. Let's change it to Text Note 2. There we go. Put that right underneath. Now, this font is fine with me for the moment, but you can, of course, change it. There we go. So I've kind of got that first portion kind of where I want it. I might change it later as I move forward. These big lines, I can tell you, are bugging the heck out of me right now, so I'm going to get rid of those. I'm kind of liking where this is headed. So I'm going to plug and chug the rest of my information here, but now I want to put a page number here. Okay, and now for that, we of course want to use the label. So I'm going to go up to Create, Label. Okay, and it looks like nothing's happened, right? It says click to place label. So it makes you sort of initiate it before you place it. So I'm going to just click, and then it gives you this. And you're like, I didn't ask for a spreadsheet Revit, but you know Revit. So it's asking you what sort of parameter do you want on this label that you're about to add. So if I scroll down to the bottom, there's one here called sheet number. So there's project number, there's scale, there's sheet name, sheet number, different things that we can add that we can change on every single sheet because it's a label. So I'm going to do sheet number. And then once you hit sheet number, you have to hit this little arrow here and say add parameter to this label. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to click OK. And it defaults a sort of, so I'm going to hit escape here to get out of this label category. There we go. And there it is. Here's my page number now. And I'm just going to move that. Oops. I just want to grab that and move it, say, down here. Now, it doesn't look quite big enough. It looks a little lonely down here. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to check this label tag 1 type here. I'm going to go Edit Type. It says the text size is 1/4 inch. I'm going to change it to 1/2. That might be too big, but let's see. And I'll hit OK. Actually, I kind of like that. Nice big, kind of filling the whole bottom there. I'm going to click off in space. That looks pretty cool. All right, I'm liking where this is headed. On every sheet, I'm going to be seeing this logo, the line that I have going around here, and these hatches. I won't be seeing this line, or this line because they're invisible. And I will, of course, be seeing the sheet number, but it'll be editable. So I could change it from sheet to sheet to sheet. So I think that gives you more than enough to play with for this first assignment of creating this. But one last thing I want to show you is we're going to just save this, bring it into a project, and print it. because that's everything you'll need to do for the assignment. Okay, so say I'm done here, okay? I want to go ahead and save it. File, Save As, Family. I'm going to put that on my desktop for now, and I'm just going to call it Title Block 11 by 17 version 1, because I might have multiple versions of this. I don't know where I'm headed. Okay, I'm going to hit save. Okay, now it says I could load into project here, but I don't have any project open. So I'm going to go File, New. I'm sorry, I'm going to go File, New. I'll hit that little arrow there and I'll do Project. If you just hit New, it'll do New Project anyway, but I'm just wanting to walk you through that again. And let's browse for a default template and hit Open and then hit OK. Okay, so right now I'm in level 1 of my project here on this tab. If I go over to this tab, I'm back to my title sheet, my title block family file. Okay, now we could hit load into project here and it would load into that project, but let's do it a different way. I'm just going to close it because we've saved it. And I'm going to I'm in the project now, and I'm going to go to View, Sheet, and it says Select Title Block, but I don't see ours here. So I'm going to hit Load, and I'm going to navigate to my desktop and grab that title block 11 by 17 version 1 that I just made and hit Open. And then now that it's selected here, I'm going to hit OK. And there we are. So here is my my new 11 by 17 with my title block. You see, I really can't do much to it now. But here, since this is a label, if I double click, or actually just single click on it, I could change it to A102. Very handy to have from sheet to sheet to sheet. So this looks pretty good. And you'll notice you can't see my invisible lines in here, but if I hover over it, I can see where they are. So I can always check my work to make sure there's nothing, there my hands are, there's nothing going up and over the different margins. Okay, so we're not going to put any work on here, so we're ready to go. And so is Wendell, apparently. So I'm just going to print it. So I'm going to go up to File, Print. Okay, I'm going to print to Adobe PDF. For print range, I'm going to do Selected Views Sheets. Hit Select here then. Now, right now, this little window here, remember, is giving me a whole list of all my sheets and all my views. Okay, so I'm going to uncheck views because I'm only concerned with sheets, which is the one I just made. So I'm going to click Sheet A102, hit OK. Do you want to save this for future sessions? No. Okay, now before I move on, I'm going to go to Setup. I'm going to make sure that my paper size is 11 by 17 and my zoom is set to 100%. So if it's fit to page, you don't want that. You want zoom and you want it to be 100% because then this border will be exactly at 11 by 17. Okay, and then I'm going to hit OK and then OK. You have chosen to print one view sheet as separate files. Do you wish to continue? Yes. Ask me to save this. So I'll just call this Kevin Kinney title block. I'll change it to 11 by 17 title block. That looks good. And this is essentially what you are going to turn into me once the title block is complete. So there we go. And here it is printed. Opens right away. And look how nice that looks. Now, one thing I might change just by looking at this is I would want this line maybe and this line to be in front of the hatch, or I could edit the hatch and make this boundary line on the left and the right a medium line, which would match this, and then I would see a nice little dark edge there. but not on the top and bottom, which might be actually kind of cool. So that's how I would do that. So that kind of takes you through a lot of stuff we covered last semester, basically. But hopefully, you'll have some fun with this. And remember, I'm going to send you the link to that title block, to the example title blocks. And the goal really is for you to just take one of those and run with it, or take one of your old ones and redo it and kind of run with it again. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.